What's up, boys? Action Jackson here. I got a nice presentation for you guys, and this is going to be my ultimate protocol that I use to get shredded for summer. I use this every summer, and I'm about to walk you guys exactly how I do it. So, on the left here, that was around peak bulk, that was like getting close to it, you know, built a bunch of muscle, but now I'm ready to shred down all that fat that I gained. And obviously, you don't want to be getting fat on a bulk. You're still going to gain fat though, but you want to strip all it away. And now I got six pack abs, super defined. Got the grill going, the obliques and everything, tan as shit. Anyways, so first of all, what is considered lean? So obviously, we got the fat section. But then now we got 13 to 15%, 11 to 12, and 8 to 10%, right? So peak bulk, I'm around 13, 15%, maybe 15% ish, but, nothing crazy. I'm not going any higher than that. You could still see my abs and everything like that. But when we shred down, we're trying to get to the 9 to 11% range. So in between those two right there. Anything below that, I don't really think is optimal. 6 to 7% is just not optimal. 4 to 5% is like you're on steroids, ready to go on a stage, and like that's not something you want to be doing, bro. But 8 to 10%, 9%, even just being 10% with a lot of muscle, bro, you're gonna be looking really fucking good. So right now I'm about, I would say 10%. I'm getting down to 8%, but that's because now I'm about to start loading. I'm not going to be 8% for a while because it's not really optimal, but yeah, that's that. So the first thing I want to go over is how consistency is the ultimate hack. Your ability to become shredded is not only going to be determined on how well and specific you can do things, but how consistent you can be. The consistency is the hack, bro. I could give you all the information, everything you need to do, but if you can't hold it every single day and hold yourself accountable every single day, you're not going to get there. Or you're not going to get there as quick as you think, and then you're going to be discouraged. So, really just be consistent. All right. So, these are the 3 stages of cutting, and I will go into, specifics in a second here, but I'm just going to go over the 3 stages. So, the first stage is going to be going from eating in a super surplus to just going to a maintenance. And you want to start walking 15K steps a day. So, you should already be walking 10 to 12,000 steps during your bulk, just because walking is just really good for you in general and it's just optimal. But I'll go into specifics, but the stage 2 is implementing the stair stepper and going into a calorie deficit, and then the third one is restricting the calories while maintaining all the things I just told you. So the first stage, this is going to be 3 weeks, and when immediately coming off a bulk, the last thing you want to do is go straight into a calorie deficit and doing tons of cardio. This will shock your whole body and it will enter into a survival mode. It'll think it's starving. It'll be like, oh my God, we're not getting nearly as much food anymore. This will cause your metabolism to slow down and your body will start putting on more fat. And this is because it is saving more energy. It doesn't know that you're just going on a cut. It thinks, oh, we don't have enough food. We're not getting enough food. We need to start storing more fat because we don't know how much energy we're going to be having in the future. So to mitigate that whole thing, you got to start eating at a maintenance. And so your body's going to have exactly everything it needs. And usually for most people, that's around 3,000 calories. On a bulk, you want to be eating like 4,500, sometimes 5,000 calories a day. If you're eating whole foods, you're going to stay relatively lean. I'm not going to say you're shredded, but you're going to keep your abs and you're not going to get fat. So, yeah. And when you cut down to a maintenance, you're still going to somewhat shock your body, but your body's still going to have the nutrients it needs to maintain everything. So it's not going to be like oh my God, what the fuck? A lot of people do that and then they wonder why they're not shredding fat away like they should be. So, you know, again, that'll ensure that your body adapts to eating less calories without absolutely self-destructing your metabolism. So the second stage, this is going to be the longest stage. It's going to last 5 weeks. This is when you start to implement a slight calorie deficit, and this will be around 150 calories, 200 calories, nothing crazy. And now that your body is adapted to not being in a surplus 100% of the time, this is when you're going to start cutting. So you're going to be wanting to switch your diet. So when you're bulking, you're eating things like bananas, avocados, things that have high dense calories because you're wanting to put a lot of food in, right? So you're going to want to switch that out with things like berries, melons, pickles. You're still going to be eating a lot of meat and eggs, but with the carbs, that's just how it is. So those have a lot little calories and it'll fill up your stomach. Berries, melons, and pickles. Pickles have like no calories, bro. It's fucking awesome. So what you want to be doing is aiming for 1.3 grams of protein per pound of body weight, 1 gram of fat per pound of body weight, and keep your carb intake below 100 grams. I would, maximum 90, 95 grams. Maximum. Keep it below 100 grams at all costs. Trust me. A lot of people think that you need to be eating more carbs and less fat. Fat's the enemy. Oh, fat's going to make you fat. That is completely not the fucking truth. Carbs make you fat. You want to be eating 1 gram of fat per pound of body weight. And the reason being is because fat, especially from meat, saturated fats, that is what keeps your metabolism going really fucking fast. That is how we can eat 5,000 calories in a bulk and keep our abs, right? So the reason being is because your hormones and especially the cholesterol you get from all the food, your hormones operate off this. Your body operates off this. Your brain runs better off of fat. Your body runs better off of fat as its main source of energy. And if you're really used to eating a lot of carbs, the beginning is going to fucking suck. But you're going to have to adapt your body to start tapping into fat as its main source of energy. And the thing I didn't explain here is, and I hope you're taking notes, is when you're fasting in the morning and you want to be fasting every single morning, break your fast around 1 to 2 p.m. And when you're fasting, a lot of people, since they're so addicted to carbs, they get brain fog, they have low energy, they feel like shit. But once you've adapted your body to have fat as its main source of energy, you could fast and feel fine because all it is tapping into what is down here, what is meant to be used as energy, right? And that's why I'm borderline carnivore, but I do think carbs are a very necessary tool in, building muscle because they, it drives protein into the muscles. There is people that do carnivore. I just think it's very extreme and it's very hard to stay consistent with that, but yeah, that's that. So you also want to be implementing 30 minutes of stepper on level 7 twice a week. Now, I'm really against like high intensity cardio, like, going for long runs, doing like intense stair stepper, doing intense, CrossFit shit like that. Like I'll do sprints and like explosive movements and shit like that and more athletic things like that. But like going for like prolonged jogs and runs, it's just not as optimal. Some people do it, they'll get jacked, but it's just not as optimal. It sucks. So stair stepper on level 7, that'll like, keep you below like super intense cardio, but keep you above just walking so you can be burning a bunch of calories and melting fat away. So this is the third stage and is the final stage, and this will last 40 weeks, or not 40, bro, that's fucking insane. 4 weeks. This is where you seriously need to lock in because Now you're ready to start shredding that last layer of fat, which is like the hardest layer. So now you really have to fucking lock in. So implement a 350 calorie deficit. Keep your carbs below 80 grams. Keep your protein and fat intake the same. I'm a big believer of doing more rather than restricting too many calories, because you're going to be hungry, you're going to cheat on your diet, you're going to be fucked up. So to ensure that you're 350 calories in a deficit, make sure you are doing stair stepper 30 minutes twice a week still, with 15 minutes on every other day. Except for your active rest day, that's going to be your 15,000 steps. But on those other days, you want to be doing 15 minutes on the stair stepper. And this will ensure that you're just melting away fat. Melting. So you will need to continue to push through your workouts and walk 15,000 steps a day. And it's going to be a little harder because you're going to be in a calorie deficit. But the good thing about eating whole foods is that you're going to be all the nutrients. You're not going to be feeling too much like shit. You're just going to have a little less energy, and it's going to be a little harder to push through those workouts. But you're going to still want to try and train intense as possible. And I promise you, bro, you will start melting that fat away. And if you stay locked in every single day, again, the consistency, you will shred that last bit of fat away in no time. And you will be shredded as shit, dude. You will be shredded as shit. I promise you, dude. If you just lock in, you will be shredded as shit. Hope you took notes, because that is my exact protocol that I follow every time I want to go on a cut. And I'm currently in the third stage, and I am in my first week. I got 3 more weeks. I'm trying to shred down about 3 more pounds. I'm trying to get super shredded for the summer, take a bunch of photos, get normal shit, and then start packing on lean mass. So I hope you guys found some insight in this presentation. That's all this is for. I love you guys. Take action, and you have a blessed day.